So I live in the South Side Chicago and South Shore, and there's a lot of interesting and cool projects going on here. And one of them is called the Land School that just opened literally around the block from me, and it's part of the Rebuild Foundation that Theaster Gates, who is a well-known artist and cultural worker, runs. He was in a conversation at the Land School this Friday night, in which he was just talking about the impetus for the Land School, his visions and dreams for the future, and what it means to kind of steward land by getting assets and resources that are community focused and community driven. When he was thinking about buying one of the buildings or trying to acquire one of the buildings at the Kenwood Gardens, he would go every day in this kind of ritual, and he would just literally run around the building, this ComEd building, run around the garden and the building. And then from there, he talked about how he ended up having a conversation with former Mayor Rahm Emanuel and then former Mayor Daley. And from those two conversations, just talking about his dream, he ended up getting a call from the director or the head of ComEd in the city, who said that they would remediate the building and it would be his in 3 months' time. And everyone was like, the audience is like, oh well, wow, blah blah blah. And it was really a testament to this idea of ritual and conjure, right? Picking a bone and sticking with that dream and coming into it. And so the whole point of me talking about this is that when he was asked more questions about this, he was pulling back out and he was saying, what does it look like for us to believe in the block, right? If we center the block, if we think of the block as an extension of self and family and community, then what would we see is viable and feasible in our blocks, in our local environments, right? It's the essence of conjure, and understanding and believing your reality, believing the reality we are in, understanding the structures that we are a part of, and then strategizing from there. Well, then it gets you to do things differently, right? It gets you to understand where you are currently, where your resources lie, and how you get those resources and remix and remake them for larger communities. Now, what's really interesting about this though is that it was so easy, though, to slip into current structural thinking, because as he was talking, he talked about this idea of building a new nation, right? Taking back the block so that we can nation build differently, and this idea of building new nations and the nation itself as this kind of structure that he was operating from. And this is what got me thinking. But that's part of the problem. We're having this beautiful imagination, this beautiful idea of taking back the block, of engaging with the block, but we're doing so through a structure that has only shown us through space and time to always replicate destruction, replicate exploitation. The nation as we understand it, whether it be the Western nation state through these colonial projects, even before then, the nation through the ways nation making and nation building have been done mainly through monarchical ways. None of that shit works. Not long term, right? The idea of nation and nation building and using the nation as a template for us to dream and conjure gets us right back into structures that need to be broken again, whether it be 200 years time, 300 years time, or just now even a decade's time, right? So when we talk about dreaming right now, y'all, and Jupiter being leading right now, I want us to think outside the box. Think outside the structure. Think outside the structures that we know, because the nation state, as it has shown us through space and time, will always end up leading us into some type of authoritarian rule, will lead us into needing that charismatic leader, that leader whose charisma ends up retarding itself. And when I say retard, I mean that in the scientific mechanism, in this kind of it's a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, that Xeroxing, right? That gets us into these present moments of really shallowness, that in order for to maintain, then has to use dominance. So when we're thinking about this week and thinking about structures, thinking about ritual, thinking about beliefs, thinking about practices, I want you to kind of go into your own rituals. Is what I recommend. What are the rituals that you need to invoke, that you need to re-examine, that you need to bring into the mundane, that will allow you to make the space so that you can sit with the emotions that are coming up, sit with the kind of harshness of the reality, and realizing that yes, you're going to have to strategize. You, me, we, all together, individually and collectively. I really enjoyed the conversation that they had, and also was a little bit frustrated with the conversation. That's not a bad thing. I find that frustration for me is an emotion that's trying to get me to get more curious, to explore.